What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Yacht Addiction YouTube channel. The yacht in front of us today is a Princess F65. This F65 is making its North American debut at the Palm Beach International Boat Show. The F65 is the largest in the F class from Princess. Princess yachts are known for building an extremely high quality yacht. You'll always find a ton of attention to detail on these models, and we'll see if this one lives up to that great reputation that Princess has built. Starting at the back of the yacht, you do have your hydraulic swim platform, and then you also have a small crew area and some storage behind this other door, and we'll check these out later on in the tour. We'll step up into the cockpit. And you'll see this U-shaped seating area that's wrapping around this really lovely table. And you can see some of the attention to detail I'm talking about. You can see the wood grain on the table lines up, and you also have these little stainless steel sections here. I don't want to remove these and mess up their display, but when you fold this over, these 2 points will line up. So then you have a little gap in the table. So that's great for airflow so the table can dry off. And then you also have a pretty good sized overhang. So you are very sheltered in this area. This window does flip up, so you can really open up these two spaces. But we're gonna step inside and get out of this Florida heat. So like most Princess yachts in the size range, you do have a galley aft layout. That's the pretty typical standard design for a modern Flybridge yacht like this. Before we head into the galley, let me tell you a little bit about some of the specs. The length officially is 66 feet and 7 inches. This yacht has a beam of 16 feet and 9 inches and has a draft of 5 feet and 4 inches. So looking over here at the galley, you'll see you have your fridge and freezer. You have a Miele oven and your electric cooktop. The double sink, and I also like the integrated dishwasher that's also built in. And then if we face the other side, you'll see this dining table. And this is very similar to before. You can see the pretty neat design in the table, and you can flip this over if you want some additional space, and you also have the built-in cup holders. And of course, you have the seating that wraps around the table. You can also throw some additional stools on this side. And the finish in here, it looks like one of these satin wood options. Princess does offer a few different types of woods in a gloss or satin finish. But hopefully you can also see just how bright and spacious this area feels. You have some really large windows on both sides. Obviously, you'll see the TV that pops up here. And then because you do have the dining table up here, you can just have a smaller coffee table surrounded by this huge U-shaped sofa. And one thing Princess is really good at, like I said, I mentioned the attention to detail. They always seem to find and make use of all the available space wherever possible. So you'll have storage drawers underneath here. You'll have storage underneath places like this. And let's open these up and see what's inside. Looks like you have your AV equipment and I think storage for your glassware. And if you're purchasing new, you'll always have the glassware embossed with the Princess logo. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Then it looks like we have another refrigerator and an ice maker. So you're pretty well catered for in here, even though you do have the galley on this level. So stepping forward, These look like these are new compared to old Princess models I've seen. These are some gorgeous helm seats. They have the wood paneling on the back and the beautiful stitching on the fronts. You have a side access door. And then of course you have your helm station with all of the latest electronics. You have 2 Garmin multifunction displays as well as your engine display in the middle. You have your throttle control, your bow and stern thruster, and then I also always like the Princess logo. It's weighted in the steering wheel and self-leveling. That's a nice little touch. And opposite of the helm station, you have additional seating. And this is pretty cool if you're trying to get some work done. Not a bad place to work from home. You can pull out this little table. And there you have it. That is the main level of this Princess yacht. You have to let me know what you think of the woodwork in here. Normally you see the walnut finish, and I believe this is an oak, not 100% sure, but I do think it looks really nice. And I didn't mention earlier how many cabins this yacht has. They actually managed on this 65-foot yacht to fit 4 different cabins. So let's head downstairs and explore them. And even with the 4 cabins, they still managed to fit a pretty good sized landing. I think we'll start forward with the VIP cabin all the way forward. Obviously, this is a beautifully finished room. Princess always puts the nicest materials in every single cabin. They never skimp on any of the areas. You can see a TV up on the wall. And then stepping to the other side, you have your ensuite and a closet right here. So this is a pretty good size ensuite for a VIP on a 65-foot yacht. Now right here you have the door into the landing. This is the day head. Still a really good size. And this also shares duties as the ensuite for the 3rd and 4th cabins. Well, the ensuite is only for the 3rd cabin, and then the 4th cabin will use this day head as well. So the 3rd cabin is right here. So you have 2 single beds. And then this is a really cool option. It's very common. Many of you have seen this before. You can push these 2 beds together. So you just push this button right here. And the bed, you can see it slowly sliding over. I'm not going to do it all the way, mess up their clock on display, but you get the idea. So you can form a much larger bed in here. There is the TV up on the wall, and then their closet and the door to the ensuite. Then across the hall, you'll find this 4th cabin, which is a bunk room. You have 2 singles. And then they have their closet right here, and it's still a pretty good size relative to the size of the room. And of course, we've saved the best for last. Back in the midship, we have a full beam owner's stateroom. You have large windows on each side of the room. You have a pretty big TV up on the wall. There's a bunch of built-in storage along here. And then let's give you a shot of the other side of the room. You have the settee with more storage on either side. And then this is always great design in my opinion. I like how they have the ensuite behind the owner's stateroom, so then gives a little buffer space between the engine room, which is right back here, and the cabins. And as you can see, This is a beautifully finished room, just like the others. And this one does have the rainfall shower. And then if we pan around, here are your closets. They light up automatically. And we'll give you one last shot of this room. If you're enjoying this F65 yacht tour, make sure to subscribe, 1, if you're new, and 2, like the video if you're enjoying it. We have a few more areas to check out. Here you'll see you do have a separate washer and dryer. And then I like how, sort of keeping on theme with just things that are practical and make sense and making use of all the space, you do have another little closet right here. So this is perfect for your laundry detergent, anything you need for the actual washer and dryer. Just makes sense. And I also really like how the stairs are backlit. Princess always has a really good contrast, I've noticed, no matter what wood style you choose, whether it's the walnut, oak, satin, finish, whatever it is. There's always a really nice contrast between the light carpet they like to use and the wood finishes. And then they also have a really nice trim detailing on the staircase with the stainless steel connectors. So far, this yacht is definitely living up to the expectation and the high standard that Princess is known to set. And guys, the 65-foot Flybridge class, that's a very competitive class. There are many yachts in this size category. But so far, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing. So now we're gonna head outside. Let's go back in the heat. I did want to point out, and this is an option, so obviously it's up to the owner, but I'm pretty sure you can opt for an aft docking station that pops out right here. This specific one doesn't have it, but I just wanted to let you know that is an option that is available. And you also have the side gates, so you can get on board from the side on either side. So you do have railings on each side. You feel very safe walking to the front of this one. And this is also a newer design layout from Princess. There's a lot of different things you can do up here. But as you can see, they have a small teak table in the middle with this seating right here. And then these two sun pads are convertible. So these backrests can lift up, so you have sun pads facing forward. Or these middle sections can also be lifted up, forming a bench that sort of surrounds the table with seating. So you have some versatility here with how you set this up. And I also like how they added a cooler right in the middle between the sun pads. And then you can see the anchor equipment and the winch right here. And you'll find the anchor chain and some fender storage. And you also have a washdown, and then the controls for, or the remote control for the anchor. So let's pan forward. And we'll head back on the opposite side. And I didn't point out before, you do have the cup holders in the teak right here, and some huge storage lockers as well for additional equipment. So I actually think we're gonna save the Flybridge for last. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It's one of the fan favorites of a Flybridge. Obviously, you get a Flybridge yacht because you want the Flybridge, duh. But you'll see there's a big hatch in the middle, and then there are also hatches on each side. So there's a couple different ways to access the engines. I think we'll open up this main one right here. Let me set this camera down for a second. And we'll get this opened up. All right, so those other hatches are great for accessing some of the other areas, but then the main engine room access is right here. I think right away you'll see your generator in the middle. And let's step down these stairs. Try not to kill ourselves. All right, we are down here. So, one thing you'll get on a Princess, you'll always have some very good engine options. This one is no exception. This yacht comes with a pair of MAN V8 diesel engines. These are 1,200 horsepower each. Your top speed is in the low 30 knots. You can cruise in the mid 20s, and you'll probably get about 300 or so nautical miles of range at that cruising speed. Now keep in mind, your range, it can vary greatly depending on your speed. So if you drop that down to displacement speeds, like single digit knots, you can get triple that, almost 1,000 nautical miles of range. So I always like to give the range estimates, like whatever the most accurate information I can, I like to provide that. But there is some play there depending on how fast you're going. And you'll see this is extremely well lit. You have 4 different large strips of light. And you also have plenty of sound dampening materials. So, those are the engines. Let's get back up. And now you can all watch me put this back down. I didn't mention before, but there are 2 struts, so this is extremely easy to open and close, even though it's a pretty big latch, or big hatch, not latch. All right, guys, now earlier I mentioned there is a small crew cabin, so let's head down there. And I don't think you're gonna be having a full-time crew. Realistically, you can own or operate this vessel, but look how nicely finished this crew cabin is. You have that same wood finish as you do on the interior. This area is air conditioned, full standing headroom, more than enough. And you can sleep 2 different crew members. Now I would probably use this area as a 5th cabin actually. You could fit, 2 disgruntled teenagers or just 2 extra guests, whoever it is, whether it's for crew or guests. This is a really nicely finished area. You have the ensuite right here. This is also nice to use as a day head if you're out in the water and you don't want to go through the yacht. And then you can see the doors in front of us. This is the closet. Excuse me. This is just storage, and it's a good amount of space too. And then on this other wall, you have the closets. So that's a nice surprise. You have plenty of great storage in this space. I think many would also just use this as a storage area. So lots of flexibility there. All right, let's step out. And that was a very smooth door. I was able to close it with one hand. And then if you unlock this door, like I mentioned, you have space for 2 sea bobs, or you could store whatever you want back here. All right, and I think we saved the best for last. Let's step up onto the Flybridge. Right away, you're greeted by this L-shaped catering area. So you have a sink under here. You have an ice maker, a top-loading refrigerator, and some additional storage in your trash bin. Overhead, you have this really good sized hardtop. And then I think we'll just start all the way forward. You of course have your second helm station with a complete redundant set of controls up here. Obviously, this is a beautiful vantage point. You have the U-shaped seating right here, and I know there is an infill cushion that you can add in this section if you want another sun pad. You have another huge dining area. I apologize if there's a little bit of wind noise. You can see another teak table with the grain lined up. I really like that design, how it flows through. And then all the way aft on the Flybridge, we'll find another seating area. And this can be customized, guys. You can have a different type of seating if you want. But there's additional seating here with a small table. And I love how they have the stainless steel railing in the middle with the cutouts. So even if you're sitting down, you have a great view. And obviously this is a fantastic view of the Princess setup at the Palm Beach show. All right, guys, we've seen every single area on this Princess F65. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.